Desperation by the Penguins, keeping that one out of the net.
Flyers win the draw. York to Michkov. Michkov back to York. York Arista. Cam York from distance. And the Flyers are on their way to the second round. And it's a beautiful thing. It's fitting they took the celebration back toward Dan Vladar because he's the reason this team wins this game. He was absolutely spectacular. Also fitting that it's another first career playoff goal that wins it. Cam York.
What a place this place is right now. Jonesy and Danny Briere should be proud of these guys, my word. One good shift in overtime, JJ leads to a beautiful goal from Cam York, and here's the handshakes.
Evgeny Malkin, possibly his last game as a Penguin. Don't know. He's got decisions to make, so do the Penguins, but Flyers aren't caring about that very much right now. Sean Couturier and his mates are on their way to the second round. You can color this battle of Pennsylvania orange and black. .42 saves for Dan Vladar in this game. So many of them of the very difficult variety. What a warrior he was in this game.
And what a shutout, yeah. Shutout for the win. Unbelievable job by everybody, right? Trainers, coaches, trying to outsmart the Penguins. They're trying to outdo us. There's Crosby shaking Vladar, the man of the hour. It's an empty feeling for the Penguins. I know how that feels. You don't know really what to think, what's going to go on.
Well, you know, they were getting better as this series is going along, and they were very much the better team in the third period and overtime here tonight. But that guy, Vladar, was the equalizer, kept his team in it. And then Cam York becomes the hero. Crosby got better as the series went along, too. They're the two. They battled all series long, but they, of course, teammates, Canadian Olympic team. It was a heck of a series. Rick Tocchet, of course, coached Crosby as an assistant coach. This place is bedlam across from the bank.
No one's left. It's unbelievable. On here by the Flyers. Face-off so important. Walking the line. Back to Michkov. Nice little backhand pass. A little risky, but I love it. And there's the shot. Noah Cates is in front. And there's the celebration. Oh, he threw his stick. He launched it.
Somebody's got it.
Yeah, just a high-risk, high-reward play here by Michkov, right? And then doesn't have to be the hardest shot. Doesn't have to be top shelf. But it has to go in the back of the net.
Flyers control the face-off. Shot from long range, score! The Flyers win it! Cam York beating the Sealoffs in overtime! The Philadelphia Flyers will move on and face the Carolina Hurricanes. Cam York with the overtime winner. Cates versus Kindle. Clean win by Cates. Flyers get to work.
Cates wins the faceoff, goes right to the net, takes the eyes away of Artur Shilovs, and York able to get the puck on net while the traffic is there. Shilovs never saw it, off the post and in. And the Flyers are on to the second round.
Cam York with his first career postseason goal. He had not scored a goal in the last 37 games, regular season plus this series. And the Flyers win it in overtime, defeat the Penguins 4-2.
Well, they can now take a deep breath. What was a comfortable 3-0 lead for the Flyers had tightened to a 3-2 lead, and you could sense the nervousness in the building. Sidney Crosby did all he could to get his team back into this series. The big three, will we see them together again next year? We don't know. Evgeny Malkin is an unrestricted free agent. And he thought this may be the last dance for Crosby, Letang, and Malkin.
For the Flyers, their first series win on home ice since 2012 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Rick Tocchet knows Crosby, Letang, Malkin, Rust very well. They won 2 Stanley Cups together when Tocchet was an assistant coach under Mike Sullivan. There's Shilovs, coached by Tocchet in Vancouver. Vladar with his second shutout of the series. He stopped 42 Pittsburgh Penguin shots.
And Vladar was sensational. The Penguins really controlled play the last 2.5 periods. Rick Tocchet knew when the series was at 3-0 that this was far from done. He knew the fight that was in Sidney Crosby and Chris Letang and Evgeny Malkin, and he proved them right. Artur Shilovs, his former goaltender in Vancouver, did all he could. But in the end, Vladar and his teammates end up victorious.
The goal scored by York, the assists, Michkov and Cates.
How about that?
17:32 of overtime. The first Flyers series clinching overtime goal since Joffrey Lupul, 2008. So it will be the Flyers and the Hurricanes. They went to overtime in all 4 regular season meetings.
Flyers win the faceoff. Here's Cam York again. Over the back by Michkov. Michkov hits it back across at the line. York with a shot. They score! Cam York from the point of the Flyers win it in overtime. And they're headed to the second round. Cates was out in front. And the Flyers start the party in South Philadelphia as they send the Pittsburgh Penguins packing in overtime. In 6 games, the Flyers eliminate the Pens. Their window is closing. The Flyers' window is propped open. And they're going on to Carolina to face the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round.
What a game by the Philadelphia Flyers, Tim. Absolutely glorious for these guys. A run to get in, a 3-0 lead to start to boot. How about that? This is a nice little play, all set up by none other than Matvei Michkov. He gets the puck on the half wall and he starts to go to work. He's really high on the blue line before this shot from Cam York. He evades one of the attackers, gets it over to Yorkie, and Yorkie's starting to evade. Gets that shot off with traffic in front. We talked about that area of the game the Flyers needed to do. And here it is, one of the best parts of hockey. These two teams have a hate-on for each other, but it's all forgotten in the handshake. A tremendous amount of respect for both of these clubs, and the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. But the Philadelphia Flyers have bested them tonight.
Cam York will end up with the game winner in overtime. As the two teams come together at center ice, the Flyers send the Penguins home in 6. Much like the series in 2012, the Flyers win the first 3, the first 2 on the road. Pittsburgh comes back with 2 to make it a series, and the Flyers finally get it done in overtime in Game 6 here at home. And this building is loud as we have heard it in years. Cam York from Matvei Michkov. That went off the stick of Anthony Mantha in front. And that's how it ends up past Artur Shilovs. Give credit to Dan Vladar. Fridge, he makes 42 saves in this game, including 10 in overtime.
You know what, Tim? Games like this, you kind of, as a former player, you kind of understand you need to steal one. You need one. You just need a game. Somebody's got to do something that's outside the box that gets it done, and Dan Vladar did it. Dan Vladar absolutely shut the door for the Philadelphia Flyers tonight and stole this game from the Pittsburgh Penguins. 42 shots is no small feat to shut the door, and he did just that.
More pressure off the faceoff from the Flyers. Michkov across.